Welcome to today's episode for our podcast. Did she really say that? This podcast is shaking up the world of business for women, shaking up the world of business for women, shaking up the business world for women, and breaking down the barriers that are really keeping women from reaching their true potential. So we are your hosts. My name is Chef Katrina. Joining me is my co-host and business partner Heidi Muama.
Mooma.
Muama. Sorry about that one. Blowing that out of the water. And basically,
You should hear her last name.
oh Lord, we're not going there. Just call me Chef Katrina. Keep it simple. And we really help busy women create a business plan that allows them to live their best life without the overwhelm and stress. So really giving you the ability to focus on what's most important to you while building your business. So we're super excited to be here today with our first guest.
Yeah, ooh.
Speaking through everything. So we got Kaz Mahoney, also known by Karyn Mahoney, down in Australia. We're super excited because she is joining us for our late night, her early morning. So it's always fun when we get to connect because she is an amazing female. She's an amazing entrepreneur, and her journey over the last few years that we've gotten to know her has been one of lots of ups and lots of downs. But she's incredible. She's diving into the mental wellness. She's looking to get into coaching. She wants to work with kids to learn English as a second language. She is a woman of just a great entrepreneurship that really cares about making an impact in the world. And I'm super excited, Kaz, that you said yes to joining us here today. So for those that don't know you, wait, I should probably stop here. So do you want to introduce yourself real quick? Who are you and what do you do
You
here
said
at
who
Foodcom?
I was.
Yeah, I just kind of threw you under the bus. They should
She
probably hear
did.
you.
She has a way of doing that. It's very fun. That's why we have to name this broadcast. Did she really say that? Because some things come out of our mouths that you're just like, did you really say that?
I did.
Like out loud? Like, yeah. So anyhow, my name is Heidi Muma, and I'm one of the co-founders here inside of Truth Bomb Academy. They actually gave me the title of CFO. I'm not sure why.
Because you're good with money.
Yes. Well, yes, I tried to be. So
Stop spending it.
she's funny. So I homeschooled my kids for 20 some odd years, but I loved the lifestyle that I built there. I also was an entrepreneur for a couple different businesses during that time, but continuing that lifestyle is the only way to do that is to be an entrepreneur. And I love everything about being an entrepreneur, but except for the times that it is so overwhelming that as females, because of all the things that we're in charge of, that's where Truth Bomb came about. Because we're done with that. We can build successful, wonderful businesses that we're passionate about without being burned out and overwhelmed and exhausted through it all.
Yeah, and Kaz is like the best person to have this conversation with, honestly, and that's why I'm excited that she's here. So, Kaz, tell us a little bit about kind of your journey as an entrepreneur, how you got started, and why you're here now, or where you are now.
I've been so in network marketing to start with, as probably most of us do start there, and that was 20 odd years ago, and just banged my head against a brick wall there for a good 20 years, and I did okay. Just wasn't getting to the level that I wanted at the time, and that's with my goals at the time too, which has changed over 20 years, obviously. It was just I had to realize that network marketing wasn't for me, and that's fine. Like, I think I just didn't want to let it go for a while, and there's other things out there I can do and that are better suited to me. So obviously being in Truth Bomb too, that's helped me realize that through all the time magic and things that we've done over the years. So yeah.
So, Kaz, I want to touch back a little bit about what you said. So, you were in the network marketing industry. How did you get started getting into Tupperware? Because I think that was the organization you joined. So, how was that introduced to you?
So, unfortunately, when I had a bad breakup, had to leave a state, and probably left, $2,500 worth of Tupperware there, over the years that you collect. And so, just have a party. No one turns up. I think my mum and my niece, my sister turned up, a couple of orders from work. And the lady, it was actually funny because my sister is the typical single mum working really hard, that they look for. And so she was talking to her about the business. And look, I had dabbled in party light and things before, and Mum said, "Oh, I think this would be more suited to you, Karyn." And because I dabbled in things before, I was like, I wasn't going near it. And then Mum sort of gave me the green light. So I did. And look, it was really good. And I learned so much. I love Tupperware, absolutely love it. I got so many rewards. I did get to manager. I just saw my direct manager who she signed me up, and I watched her go up, and she actually became a director of one of the distributorships, and I saw her working 70 hours a week to get that, and I just went, that's not for me. I watched my dad kill himself at 90 hours a week to run a business. It's got to be able to be done without having to kill yourself and run yourself into the ground.
Yeah, and I think you bring up something that's really important is like as those of us that get into network marketing, because it is like the easiest thing, right? As women entrepreneurs, typically we have friends invite us into it and we're like, oh yeah, and they tell us like we can make money. But there's also like the dirty little secret behind the scenes for some of these of how they've gotten to where they are. And it's a lot of hours sometimes. It's a lot of managing of people. Like you learn a whole nother skill set. But you just mentioned, you saw her working like 70 hours a week to build the business. So, there's talk about reaching these big numbers in a company and having that residual income, but the amount of time that women are putting into it, that was something you just never saw for yourself.
No, and I don't have kids, so I can't imagine how people do it with kids. And if it's for you, absolutely go for it.
Right.
I know people are very successful in it, and it suits them, and they do it the way they want to, and that's fine. And same with my manager, even that suits her. That's great for her. Yeah. What I worked out, it wasn't suitable for me and what I wanted.
And I love you that you say that. I'm just going to throw this in here too. That was one of the things, like my background definitely comes from the network marketing industry, having owned my own restaurant, like definitely building different businesses over the years. But one of the things I will say is that for as many women that get into the network marketing industry to connect and build a business, what I sometimes feel is like the most successful one are typically the men, because they can kind of put the blinders on. They have a very systematic approach to everything. And they're like, it's a numbers game. It's this game. It's that game. And they just like push through. Right. And I think a lot of that as women, as we get into that industry, we adopt that same mentality because that's what's been proven to work. Right. And I've actually met a woman just recently that said, we didn't do that at all. She's like, I had the smallest team, but had the largest number of sales because I didn't focus in on growing the team. I focused in on serving people. Right. So I think it's a kind of a different approach for that one. But again, it's time management at the same time. So I'm glad that you brought that up just to touch into that. So then you're going through this, like you kind of, I'm guessing, found some different ways. You went online looking for help to build your business, kind of a thing, right? That's typically where most of us fall into. It's like, well, I don't want to build it this way. I want to go try it this way, right? So off to the internet we go, right? What were some of your experiences in trying to find information to help you, even though, maybe you've stepped away from it now, but I'm sure you were on there looking for help in building your Tupperware business. So what did you go online looking for?
So at the time, Tupperware were not online and refused to go online. So I was out to prove that it could be done. And if I knew what I knew now back then, I wouldn't have looked at some of this stuff, but we don't know what we don't know. It's just a lot of money was wasted. The big ticket company that, teaches you to do ads on Facebook, that just, that's great for big companies, but for the little network marketer or MLM, I don't think it's really the way to go. And I just I wouldn't say into debt, because I did learn a lot. So I don't consider it as debt. I learned a lot about digital marketing, and that will help me when I do actually start a business. But just fragmented, like, we'll teach you this little bit. So you're left hanging on, how do I do this, or how do I do that? And then you've got to spend more money and go looking for more mentors and more training, and that just gets frustrating and overwhelming as well.
Yeah. Oh, I
And you're
agree.
attending, especially when a lot of the training's in America and you're in Australia, so you're getting up at 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 in the morning to do the training. It needs to be something worth it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that completely. And what I love what you said also was the fact that you went online to prove them wrong. And I'm just going to highlight that because I love that. I remember when I went online, that was one of the big things I went online for. Is like, I'm going to prove them wrong. Like, I'm going to prove this can be done. So you and I are very kindred spirits in that way. Because, like, when somebody says, well, we don't do it that way, you're like, but you can, and I can show you how, kind of a thing, right? So I love that you kind of went into that path. And then I do know, and I totally agree with you, there's a lot of different digital marketing companies, trainings, coaches, a lot of that's out there. And I always came across, even for myself, a lot of times, I always heard the thing I felt for myself, honestly, that I was getting pieces to the puzzle. But no one would actually show me the whole freaking picture. Like, when you were like working on a puzzle and you at least have the picture so you know that at least some point you're going to get to closure. Like, you're going to be like, that last piece is going to be in and then this is done, right? The problem I had with online marketing and what I was being taught is I felt like I was getting taught small pieces, like you said, but I didn't know what these pieces fitted. Like, what did they fit into?
Yeah.
What was I going to have at the end of this? Right? And I think that's where you really like, what the heck is going on? So I love that you bring that up. So now you've been in this transition, right? So I've known you for the last few years, and you said, I've discovered that network marketing wasn't for me. So 20 years of trying to make it happen. What happened? What was the moment that when you had that realization, and what did it feel like for you?
I mean, it was almost like a bit of grief. Like I was letting this thing go that I'd worked so hard on and I tried to learn the skills for, and so that was hard. I do remember it was actually another girl in our group, Julie, who had decided the network marketing wasn't her. And in a previous meeting where we met once a month, we were doing reflection, and she said that, and it kind of gave me the okay to say it wasn't for me. Like sometimes I think we need permission. Like it's silly to say, but it's almost like if somebody else does it, it's okay for us to do it. And that's in anything. Even in my mental health, we get taught, to let them know this happens to other people and you're not alone.
Yeah.
And that's where I think I felt like, and you were so supportive to her. And I just went, so I can still do this. I can still learn things, and I can run a different type of business. It doesn't have to be that. And I don't have to do it right away. I don't have to know what I want to do right away.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's sometimes women we've got to be, I think we do shroud things from each other. I think we do kind of hide things a little bit because of the guilt or shame, or that we've been doing this for so long, and to give it up, it feels like we're like a failure to ourselves or let something down. Like, do you have that kind of occurring before you?
Yeah, like it is like failure. I'm never going to give this up. And we taught that too in all our trainings. Never give up. You do, because the wall's right there and you're about to break through it. And, and sometimes that can be true. But if it's upsetting your mental health, get out. That's the biggest thing. Since I have stopped doing that, like, and not pushing myself like that, my mental health is so much better. I've done other things to help it too, but I do believe that's a major.
Yeah. And I love what you're saying here too, because I think this is where women get stuck, right? It's like, if we don't do this, we've let everyone down. Like, I can't tell you how many female entrepreneurs I've talked to, and women in general, that's like, Heidi's shaking her head. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was even in a conversation I was in today where it was like we were talking about our businesses and things that we've done, and it was like and we hide things from those around us who we want to be able to prove ourselves before we tell everybody what we're doing. And that, I mean, even our spouses and our children, and especially like your parents, your closest friends, it's like you don't want to tell them what you're doing until you're successful, until you have like. And so it's like, why don't we believe that the people closest to us will support us? We think sometimes it's like it's easier to ask a stranger or talk to a stranger about something that than it is your closest friends, the people who love you the most. And it's at least that was what this lady and I were talking about. And it was like and then when this person found out, it was like that person was so hurt that she didn't share this with him. And he was just like, and so it's like, it's this oxymoron. It's like, doesn't make sense, but it's like we have this thing, it's like where we want to hide until we're successful or not disappoint those around us.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think there's a lot of preconceptions with a lot of the different things we have out there. And I'm not sure what it's like for you in Australia, but sometimes asking for help seems like a sign of weakness for a lot of women. Like asking for adding for money or to cover bills. It feels like, why can't you take care of yourself? Why aren't you figuring this out? Do you ever is that something that you guys experience over down in Australia?
It's big here. We have a saying here, I don't know if you heard it, but she'll be right, mate. It's just everything will be all right. Like, and I know in life, like if you really believe that and that's your beliefs, and it will be. But if you're saying it like, oh, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. And we get that a lot here. So you'll tell somebody, I should be right, mate. Like that, it's just you'll get over it. You'll be right. So yeah, very much here. Asking for help. Yeah, no, it's seen as, people just struggle and do it on their own. I live in a very small island, a very small community. So you would think there would be a lot more community involvement and help and things like that, and there's just not. And then that's where you really see it when you live in small communities, because the bigger community, everyone's got their own thing and they're doing whatever. Now, saying that, when something happens, we had a big tragedy happen on the island just recently, and everyone came together and looked after those people and everything else. That happens, but that's on a big scale when everyone knows about it, and that's obvious. But when you're just struggling on your own, and it's not this big obvious thing, then it's hard.
Yeah, and I think you point to something too, and it kind of came to me as you were talking, is that sometimes in our mind, what we're dealing with is huge for us because it's right impactful, right? It's things like paying the bills, putting food on the table, taking care of the little one if you have it in the house. Like, there is just so much that you're taking care of. And, sometimes that feels like an overwhelm to you, but looking in on the outside, they're like, you've got this. You've done stuff like this before. So there is that one, but for a lot of times for women, it's just, sometimes we just need a hug, right? Sometimes we just need that emotional connection. Sometimes we just need someone to make us laugh or something, like get out of the house or just meet a friend, something. Like, we need that ability to break out of our own space that we're in. And I think that's some of the healing and some of the elements that we can bring back into the world for female entrepreneurships, right? Stop trying to do it so much alone and learn that sometimes you just need a quick connection with another human being.
Some women I've noticed, and I know this was for myself, where it's like we'd like to tell people how strong they are. How resilient they are, and everybody wears that like it's a badge of honor.
I'm strong,
and
I'm
it's
resilient.
Just like, it's like not going up, and it's like, it's like you walk into someplace and it's like all you honestly just want a hug. And like Katrina was saying, but there was like, oh, she's so strong, she doesn't, like, people don't think you need that because you put on this strong persona. And it's just like, I think sometimes it's like we need to we need to let ourselves be more vulnerable than I think society has allowed us to be. Or it's like, and also being careful, and I've caught myself with this in the last several years because I've been more conscious of it, but it's like, and using those words with women who I know are going through things and I know have been through things, and it's like, and using those words, oh, she's strong, she's resilient, she bounces back all the time. And it's like, because then when you say that, you put that on that person, they have to personify that, they have to be that, otherwise they feel like they're letting you down.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have anything to do with themselves. It's like they'll let themselves fall apart or be hurt because they have to put on that I can handle this persona.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to what Kaz said earlier. She talked about how she, was in the network marketing industry because she felt like she just had to be. Like, that was what kind of was expected. Like, she's been doing this for so long. Like, to step away from that.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, no, but you're a network marketer.
It's your identity.
You're just...
It becomes an identity.
It does. Just like being a mom becomes an identity. Becoming a wife becomes an identity. Like, you become everybody else but you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you.
I think it's really interesting. So, Kaz, I want to talk a little bit about, because you've been in our small beta group that's been going through Truth Bomb Academy, and we've kind of rolled out something brand new. And I know that we've been learning along with you all, and you guys have been doing some great feedback and, just sharing kind of your, expectations, experiences. What are you getting from this kind of a thing? So you've been through Unlocking My Millions with the business playbook. Now, we're not complete yet at the time of this recording, but we're almost there. What's it been like for you to go through this business playbook? Even though like you said, you don't have it all figured out yet for your business, you kind of know where you want to go. What's the experience been like for you so far?
So one thing I'll say is I love how it's every week there's a little bit. So it's not all just in one. And it's not just a video where you're watching somebody and there's no interaction. The interaction is what makes it, because you can ask your questions live. You can get that feedback straight away. But just the fact that it's the whole thing, and there's still little offshoots, understandably, because you can't put everything you need to know in 8 weeks or whatever it is, but it just at least touches on everything, and then you can obviously go out into that. For me, what it's done is, when I started this, I wasn't sure if I want to run a business, and I don't know, but let's go along to the training anyway. I love learning, so it can cross skills on many things, so I'll always be there to learn. But it's given me that inspiration because of the way you've set it up and the questions you ask in it really focuses on what you want, not what is expected, what other people expect, what it's about what you want. So then, and there's no urgency and rush. Like, if you want to run a business and you want to make $1 million in 2 years, well, fine, you're going to have to rush. But most of us don't. That's not what we want. We just want to live every day and have enough to live every day and a little bit extra. So I like that I've been able to literally slow down to go forward. But the rushing, it was almost like you're falling over. You see, when you run too fast and you just trip and you fall flat on your face. That's what it felt like. So this is really just, you have to slow down to speed up sometimes. That's what I feel. And I'm nowhere near in starting my business yet, but at least I have some ideas. I have a guide for when I'm ready. I have some ideas to build an audience before I launch a product, which I can do now, and I don't have to be live every day. I don't have to be posting every day. I'm studying 2 things. I'm a carer as well. So, like with most women, we have a lot on our plate. So this posting and going live every day is just, if it's for you, great, do it. But if not, and that's where I think Truth Bomb Academy gives us that permission that I spoke about earlier, that there is permission for you to slow down. You don't have to run yourself into the ground.
Yeah. I love how you said that because I'm thinking back to a lot of the stuff, like when I first got started, everything was like a 30-day game plan. Everything was like a 90-day, like, have to do. It's like everything felt like I had to accomplish all of this in like the shortest time period possible. Right? And it's like trying to teach, a first grader what a master or, professor in college knows. And you're trying to squish it in and say, oh, you can learn this in like, 30 days. I was like, you guys are being super unrealistic. Right? And I love how you said that too, Karyn, because inside of this, when you said you can slow down, I think women are at their best because we do slow down time. Right. I think when I look back at like what women really, in terms of like connect and bring to the world, the masculine is all about energy, moving faster, getting things done. And we need that reset, which is what we do as well as women, is slow down time so that you can get present again. But I think we've been so much in that masculine marketing and business because that's who's teaching us are the men. And so they only know how to teach us speed, faster, transactions, money. Like that's what they know. And to bring in that feminine or that female aspect of slowing time down and saying, what if we just kind of took this back a step and got present to what we're doing and who we're talking to? I think makes so much a difference because you're out in the world, with when you're going to start into your business, impacting, those that want to learn English as a second language, like the children and the young adults you'll impact for that. Like, I know that's a big thing that we've been talking about recently. I know that mental health, definitely after the last few years, we're now in 2023. We had a pretty big eventful year in 2020 for those that are going to hear this recording 20 years from now. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, you were there then, right? And we're going to look back and say, yeah, this I think the nice thing is that 2020 brought to women's attention that we are this ones that are going to have to slow things down, right? We're going to have to be the ones that set this trend for what's needed in our future moving forward. So I love what you're up to in your life, in your business, and just having you go through this training in this academy and just going through this playbook with us. Because you're always just so open around, what it's like, what you're hearing. And that's where we invite the women to come in. Like, that's who we're inviting in, Kaz, right? Those are the women that we want in here to connect with, is the ones that can continue helping develop this conversation. All right.
I was going to say that there's a lot of new information too. So, like I said, I've been around for a long time. I've heard it all. In different ways, and you very rarely get new information. So that is something I have to say, is the new information in here, which you talk about it all the time, Katrina, about Web 3.0. So things have to change, and we're just on that cusp. It happens. It might not happen every 10 years or whatever, but there is times where that happens, and we're in that time. Time for things to change.
Yeah. Yeah, the one interesting thing is, like, I remember talking with you guys about marketing, and I think I brought in a whole new conversation around what marketing really was. And I think I blew everyone away because they're like, oh.
Yes, you did.
That was marketing. Like, it took it back so much that said, stop doing what you're being told, right? And look at what you're actually have access to. And that perspective, that like stepping back and looking at what you have available, I think really does give women the ability to breathe through their marketing instead of this to-do list or this next tactic or this next, media site or something. It's like, what is it that you really want to use this for? Right. And I think that was one of the big pieces. And then we started talking about finances, right? And you brought up, it's like, great, we're going to learn money, but how else do I continue to invest that? Right. Like, you brought up some really good points inside of everything that we've done. And the beauty of it is that these are the conversations we really want to continue to cultivate and create and develop, right? Because we know it's time for a different conversation. And I think that's the beauty of it. So I do have one question. I know we are, we've been on for a little bit, and I want to recognize all of our podcasters and our viewers that are catching this. So I just thank you, Kaz, for being on live with us, or being on with our podcast for the first time with us. So we're excited.
Thank you for asking. It's always a pleasure with you guys. You always have fun. I love it. And that's another thing about the community is it's a real community. I found with other ones, like you don't get to know people, and so, but you do, and that's the interaction that this community has.
So how can people find you on this wonderful world called the internet? What's the best place to connect with you, honestly?
So it is Truth Bomb Academy. I am not a big social media fan at the moment, like as most of us. And I do find that finding a community like that is a much better way to do it. It's more authentic, and you get more authentic people. I'm not getting a million market. Like I went on LinkedIn for a little while. Oh my God, just spammed and that's not what Truth Bomb Academy is about. And that's why I think that's the best place to connect. And that's not a sales pitch. Like, you can find me on Facebook, whatever, but I'm not likely to respond to you because I'm not going to look at it, for days on end. But Truth Bomb is something I go to every day.
Yeah. Well, and I love that. You guys are too nice. But what I just want to let our listeners and our viewers know is that that's part of what we built with Truth Bomb Academy is we took it off social media, right? Like I knew for a fact, and the three of us knew that we did not want to be in like our community to be hooked up into any other platform because it didn't serve the conversation we were about to have. And it doesn't feed the conversation we're having, which is like, you don't have to post every single day. You don't have to like use this as like a constant ongoing posting. This is not your social media platform, right? And when Kaz says you can connect with her, that's the other thing. We have a member directory. So you can actually connect with the women in there. You're going to hear what kind of businesses they're in, and then you guys can connect. You can accept each other's connections or not. You can find out more about each other through your bio. And then you also can do private messages in there. So you can build that one-on-one relationship that we know is critical for women inside of their business. And that's the piece. Like we know as Kaz continues to grow her business, she'll continue to plug in and ask questions and will always be there because that's the key to this community. So the training is in here. The group chats are in here, and then your ability to connect with each other is also inside of here. We really built kind of like a whole community hub around business and women and what it is that women need to really step into their power and their goddessness. Yeah. Anyway, it's my new favorite word.
We do sometimes make up words.
Shh.
It's our superpower.
Oh, that's right.
I love that.
I'll come up with definitions too.
It's like Disney. They make up their own words. I can do the same
There
thing.
you go.
Why not?
I know. I think it's fine.
We do.
All right.
You can have Truth Bomb Academy Dictionary.
Ooh. I like your thinking. Yes. All right. So, well, Kaz, thank you so much.
Truth-bomb-isms.
Truth-bomb-isms? There you go. Did you really say that? Kaz, she really said that. She said truth-bomb-isms.
Truth-bomb-isms.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to get really interesting over the next few months, weeks, years, for sure. So, well, I really do appreciate you jumping on and spending some time with us, Kaz. This has been an adventure as always, and I look forward to your continued personal growth and development and choosing whatever makes you the happiest in your life. So, and thank you for being a part of this and sharing your journey with us. So that's what we love to celebrate.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, with that, this is the end of our episode for Did She Really Say That? And I think Kaz really said a lot of stuff that had you wonder going, did Kaz really say that? The answer is yes. So we will see you on our next episode. Stick around, join us. And for more information around Truth Bomb Academy, head over to truthbombmarketing.com. And we hope to see you inside the Academy. Bye, everyone.
Bye.